Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ndeye Peinda. If you are tuned in today, I am upset. I am upset, and if you're looking at the title, no, sis, I would never, okay? You couldn't pay me enough money to do it, period. But if you want to see how this all started and you want to hear about the brand that reached out to me in order for me to go ahead and bleach my skin, make sure you go ahead and keep on watching. This video is a little all over the place because when you're angry, you just speak from so many different places and so many different emotions, but I feel like it was raw, it was real, it was authentic, and I want to bring that to my platform constantly and consistently. It's just my honest truth and my honest experiences. So make sure you go ahead and keep on watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you would like, and subscribe to my channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, so I wasn't going to do this, but I'm getting ready for an event and I got an email and I really feel the need to speak on this topic. So this is going to be like a chit chat, get ready with me, but more like a rant, get ready with me, because I'm about to go off. I will be listing all of the products that I use in the description box down below as usual, but let's get into it. So I've been on spring break, as you guys know. I haven't been posting as much. I'm not sure if you guys can see. You definitely can see, but I had a really bad allergic reaction to a facial moisturizer that I tried to use, and it caused me not just to break out, but almost like cystic acne type of bumps, like they actually hurt. So I was just giving my skin a rest, letting it breathe, whatever the case may be. So I wasn't filming, but I've been doing things on the back end as far as like creating a media kit and, you know, creating a logo, trying to figure out what site I want to host my website and things like that. So I've been working, just not filming. And today, literally today, as I'm going through my emails, I see one from a brand and I open it up. It said partnership. So at this point, when it says partnership, I'm not sure if you guys know, but it means like I can get paid for it for the most part, or if it's not a payment, it's some type of beneficial, mutually beneficial agreement between the company and myself. So I see the email, I open it up, and it says, hey, like, we would love to partner with you. How much would you charge, or what are your rates for 2 pictures, a video, and like us to be able to use the video whenever we want? First of all, that's never gonna happen. Like, unless it's a brand or a company I truly trust, I don't know if I could give full ownership of a video that I do to another brand, because who's to say what you're gonna put in the caption? Who's to say when you're gonna put this up? Who's to say where I'm gonna be? So automatically I was kind of like a little like about it, because you're not asking me to be in a campaign. You're asking to be able to use my video at your own disposal, which I don't necessarily agree with, because what if that video ends up, I don't know, you know, you just never know where things are gonna end up. So I'm like, okay, let me check out the brand. That's the first thing I always do whenever I get contacted by any company, especially a brand that I haven't heard of before. My first step is always to Google the brand. So I go to their website. The first thing I see all over their page is brightening, 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 brightening. And whenever I see the word brightening, I get turned off a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie, just because it makes me question, like, is it brightening or is it whitening? Which one is it, right? So I'm like looking more through, like, hold up, this is not just one product that's brightening. All of their products are talking about brightening. So I go to the About Me page and I'm looking at it, and it's basically saying like, this brand is created to help you with your hyperpigmentation, da, da, da. That's also another keyword that I'm always like wary of, is when brands create products that are solely about hyperpigmentation and brightening, because how are you getting rid of the hyperpigmentation? You're lightening that area of the skin. Yo, a skin bleaching company reached out to me, offering me payment to essentially bleach my skin and let them use my photos as like before and after, or use my videos as before and after. And I'm just like, the audacity. The audacity for you to see me, see my content, see my video, whether it's on YouTube or on Instagram, see my pictures and think, hey, we want to send her these products. We want to work with her because we think she needs to bleach her skin. I mean, what a brilliant thought, a brilliant idea. Are you kidding me? And it really made me just sit here and think about the fact that like something that's already been on my heart, something that's already been bothering me, is this idea like people are really fetishizing dark skin in our society right now. And it's almost become a trend. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, my skin is not a trend, okay? This is something that I live in every single day, something that I have lived in for 25 going on 26 years, something that I've been dealing with before it was cool. Okay, before it was a trend to have dark. And the reason why I feel like I was real life triggered by this situation is because just recently, like I want to say 2 days ago, I was walking around in Harlem, and as I was walking, I started to notice something about all of the couples that were walking past. So there were a lot of couples walking past me, walking in front of me, walking around me. It was a nice day, so a lot of people were outside. And I was on the phone with my cousin, and I literally stopped and I said, yo, I just realized that so many couples just walked past, and it was a lot of black men, and all of the black men were either with extremely fair women, white women, or Latina women. But I didn't see any of the black men after like 10 to 15 couples, because I was walking for a few blocks. 10 to 15 couples, I didn't see not one black man, not one dark-skinned black man with a dark-skinned woman. And some of you may be like, okay, that's preference. You're absolutely right. Like I 100% feel like and 100% believe that you are entitled to your preference, because my preference, for example, when it comes to men, is dark-skinned men, right? So what we need to realize is that our preferences come from somewhere. We're not like we're trained almost about preferences based on what we see in the media, because a lot of the times when you hear men that say that they don't like dark-skinned women, a lot of the reasons as to why they don't like dark-skinned women is connected to stereotypes that have already been portrayed in the media about dark-skinned women. For example, dark-skinned women being violent, being angry, being ghetto, being promiscuous. All of these reasons as to why black men may say they don't like black women, or specifically say they don't like dark-skinned black women, is based on the way society has trained people to think of people that are darker skinned. Hence why a lot of the times you see, even in the school system, darker skinned boys, darker skinned girls are getting suspended more, are being punished more, are being or are considered to be more violent. It's based on the biases that people are already walking into the situation with. So what that really did for me, it's like, yo, here I am, a dark-skinned black woman, and I want to be with a black man, specifically a dark-skinned black man. And as I'm walking around today, I don't see any man that I would potentially be interested in with any woman that is anywhere close to my complexion. So what that did for me in the moment is it really made me feel like, dang, like, is this it? Like, am I not considered attractive, or am I not wanted, or would no man want me because of how deep my complexion is? And these are thoughts that I feel like a lot of dark-skinned girls deal with from the time that they are young, because we are not represented. We don't see ourselves when we see women who are in the media, women who are on the front pages of magazines, when we see women that are considered the huge or the mainstream media models or actresses or celebrities. Like, we don't see ourselves a lot of the times. So what that does is it makes us internalize the fact that maybe it is because of how dark we are. So while for some people dark skin might be a trend, think about the type of dark skin women y'all see a lot of the times being posted on these pages. Like, I'm about to pull up one, and I'll probably screen record it and put it here for you guys, and I'll block out the name of it. But a lot of the times when you see dark-skinned women being posted on these pages, they are either being sexualized because they are in a bikini, number one. Number two, they are oiled all the way up, so they're being sexualized, if I didn't say that already. And then number three, it's just like, if it's not that one type of dark-skinned woman, it's not posted on these pages. They're not promoted. If you're not stacked and you don't have a small waist, a small belly with big breasts and a big butt, you're not an acceptable, or you're not a wantable or an admirable dark-skinned woman. You really have to fit into these boxes that society is essentially putting on us. And it's just like, this company really is one of the brands where I feel like, you reaching out to me, you don't know what my mindset is. What if I was a weak person? And I don't even want to say a weak person, because I don't want to say that all people that bleach are weak. I think the reality is people who bleach their skin, it's a result of confidence, right? And the lack thereof it, the lack of security, but also the pressures that society is putting on you. And I can speak from a place of knowledge because I have a lot of people in my family who have bleached their skin. I'm not going to put it on blast here because I don't know who might be watching this video, but bleaching skin, especially in the West African cultures, even when that whole scandal went about or happened with Black China and white niches based on them going to Nigeria to promote the cream, I'm just like, we're more in a rut and we're more in shambles about what's going on than the actual, like, they would not be able to do that if it was not a market for it. That market already exists. African women for years, just like Jamaican women, just like anywhere you go where there's Black people, have been bleaching their skin for years. So if you're a business person and you have also bleached your skin and you have that self-hate, like you have that self-hatred and you are a colorist, why wouldn't you capitalize off the business that already exists? So when everybody was going off about it, for me, it was more so like, this is disgusting, but also just like, if not them, it will be another person. If it wasn't Black China going and doing that, there would be another person going and selling this product and putting their face on it. So regardless, the issue isn't even really just Black China going to Nigeria to sell these products. The issue is the fact that there's a market and there's a strong market for it and people are making millions. I'm speaking from a place right now of anger. Like I'm angry. And I know that a lot of the times when we're angry, it's not the best time to speak because we're going to say things we don't mean. But honestly, like, I feel like I just need to say how I feel, and however it comes across and how it comes across. And I'll apologize if I say anything that I feel is wrong, but sometimes we just need to express how we feel because I feel like I'm not the only one that feels like this. Like, I know that there are so many other dark-skinned girls right now, especially if they are modeling or especially if they are, you know, trying to build a presence on social media. One of the comments that I feel like all of us that are dark within this space hear a lot is, oh my God, your skin. Oh my God, your skin. You're so lucky because of your skin. Oh my God, brands. This is all in the rage. Oh my God, so many brands are going to work with you because of your skin. Not so many brands are going to work with you because your content is amazing. Not so many brands are going to work with you because your skill is amazing. Not so many brands are going to want to work with you because of your application and because of your support of the brand. It's almost like people are trying to say your success is simply because you are dark skinned. People or brands wanting to work with you or send you products is simply because you are dark skinned. And let's say that is the case, right? About damn time, because we've been here for years. Like, what? We've been here for eternity. As long as there's been men, there's been dark-skinned people. So when I was in middle school, when I was in elementary school, I was literally teased like crazy for being dark-skinned. And the people that teased me the most were Black people, my peers. Other people that looked like me that were just lighter were the ones that essentially made fun of me. When it came to anything in the classroom, I personally always felt like I wasn't enough. I always felt like my existence within the classroom, like I wasn't as pretty as the other girls. Getting emotional, whoo, child. Lord, the lashes. But I always felt like, you know, I didn't compare at all. And a lot of the times the reason why I felt that way is not only because I was dark and I was Black, but also because I was African. I mean, if you African, you know the real. You know what it was like being called the African booty scratcher. I mean, I have people in our culture, there's something called churai. It's like, I don't want to say, it's like an incense, right? And in the incense, they put it in the house. You end up smelling like the incense. Also, some of the things we cooked with is like dried meat or dried fish. It's in the house. If you cook a certain African dish, your entire house is gonna smell like that. That's why, if you know any Africans, especially I know my cousins, like when I go to the house and they're cooking, we literally have changing clothes and we put our clothes away in closets because we know how much the smells can get on our clothes. So of course, because you're different culture, different background, I can't even speak right now because I'm so emotional, different background, you're gonna smell and you're gonna look different, right? So I remember it would be to the point where kids wouldn't want to sit next to me, especially more so like in elementary school. Kids would not want to sit next to me. I'll never forget the day we were in Spanish class. And the thing is that I was always smart when it came to school. So what would happen is a lot of the kids would be mean to me, make fun of me, bully me, all of these things. But then when it came to needing an assignment done, when it came to homework, when it came to anything academic related, they would always be the first people like trying to be my friend. And me just wanting to fit in, me just wanting to, like, you know, have friends at this time, I'm a super young age, I would allow it. Like, I would allow it. I would be so excited, only to realize later that I was just being used. And I'll never forget, like, I was sitting in class one time in Spanish class, and we had to hand in our notebooks because she was doing like a notebook check. And I remember some boy using the pen to like move my notebook specifically, almost saying like he didn't even want to touch it. And I'm just like, now when I think back on it, it's just like, yo, these are experiences I know not only dark-skinned girls and dark-skinned boys are having, but also just Africans in general. It's like, it's a common experience. So when you tell someone who has been traumatized, essentially, from the time they were young, just based on the fact of how they looked, who have taken years to understand their beauty, taking years to understand like that they can be who they are, but who still deal with the, like, I don't want to say the consequences because it's not a negative thing, but who still deal with the reality of what it means to be dark skinned. When you tell them that they're lucky, when you tell them, oh my God, this is so in right now, I wish I was you, I wish I had your complexion, I wish I had this, you don't realize like what it actually means. You don't realize what it took for us to get to this point where being dark skinned wasn't necessarily considered like a horrible sentence. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm expressing what I'm trying to say correctly, but I hope y'all get what I'm trying to say when I say that. Then I get to high school and I go to an all-white high school, a majority white high school, and it's literally the complete opposite. Oh no, sorry. It's literally the complete opposite experience. And when I say it's the complete opposite experience, I mean like, when I tell y'all, and they're both bad, and you're gonna see why in a second, but I was literally fetishized and I didn't even know. I'm talking about people, white girls, and the one I'm thinking about specifically is a white teacher. Oh my God, your skin is so beautiful, your skin is so this, where are you from? Like, going off. And me, being a 9th grader, I'm like, yes, you know, my skin is popping, you feel me? I'm from Africa, I'm Senegalese. Meanwhile, I just came from a space where I would literally see people on the street, they would harass me, I'd be like, I'm not African, I'm Jamaican. Just because I didn't want to be connected to the culture because of how badly, like, we were bullied for it, you know? And then I get into a space now where the people look completely opposite of me. I was born and raised in Harlem, went to an all-black school from the time I was in pre-K to 8th grade. This is my first time being exposed to a diverse third group of people, and it wasn't really diverse because, to be honest, it was mostly white students and then students of color, so Latinos, very few Latinos, and black students, very few black students. So now I'm in a space where I look completely different from everyone else, and in my mind back then it's like, but these are the people accepting me, I can be myself here. When my parents wear African clothes to parent-teacher conferences, like, I'm okay with that. Whereas in middle school, I remember one time we had a graduation, my parents came in African clothes and I almost didn't even want to be associated with them. I was so upset that they wore those clothes. I was so mad. But now I'm in 9th, 10th grade and I'm like, Mommy, Daddy, make sure that y'all wear your African clothes, because I'm like, I'm being accepted for it. This is what they want. Not realizing again that I was just being fetishized, that it was just that I was so different from them. And I think that where I realized I was being fetishized is when I was an adult, and it wasn't until I was in college that I really realized what was going on. But essentially, like, I had a teacher, and I know this video again is all over the place, but I'm just gonna talk, and whatever we title it is what we title it. As long as you here listening. I remember I had a teacher, and I don't want to say her name, but when I say sis was in love with me, she did a lot of work in Africa. Don't ask me where, because she never specified. She just said she did a lot of work in Africa, because, you know, sometimes people think Africa itself is a country, not a whole continent. So they'll tell you, oh, I'm doing work in Africa, but they won't tell you where. And I remember I had her, when I tell y'all I barely did any work for this lady's class, I barely did any work for this lady's class. Ask me what grade I got. Guess in the comment section down below what grade this woman would give me. I was getting A's in this woman's class. A's. I'm talking about people would do days and days and days of preparation for a project. Days and days and days of preparation for an assignment, for reading, whatever the case may be. I would do it in a day. I would do it the night before. I would do it sometimes within the same day during my lunch period, and I would get the same grade for less quality work as a lot of these students. And you know what I did in every one? I mentioned Africa. Whether it had to do with the subject or not, I mentioned something about Africa, something about my family, something that I knew would make her give me an A, because I'm just like, oh, like, she loves me, she loves the fact that I'm African, like, watch me do this. And I'm thinking this is a good thing. I'm milking it as much as I can, because I could get these A's and not do anything. What? Like, you can't tell me anything. And I mean, whenever we would talk about the continent, again, because Africa is not a country, anytime we would talk about the continent of Africa, literally, like, she would call on me. And the same thing would happen in religion class whenever we talked about Islam. But in this class specifically, whenever we mention anything about Africa, Africans, black people, slavery, because you all know they think African history or black history starts with slavery, they would literally call on me to answer the question. And I remember I felt so much pressure, and I felt prepared though, because my middle school, we learned a lot about black history, and it wasn't something we just learned about in February. All year round we were learning about artists like Ramir Bearding. We were doing, you know, rhetoric class, or what was it called, rhetoric? I can't remember, or oratory class, where it was about like rhetoric and learning about black artists, black painters, black poets, Langston Hughes. Like, we learned about them like literally all year round, so that wasn't an issue. So I was prepared for some of the conversations, but I was more so prepared for black history in America. I wasn't really prepared for history about Africa. And being that this was a global class, we was in social studies, I was very like, I would always crawl within my own self, because I'm just like, damn, like, I should know this and I don't know this. And I had to think about it as an adult, like, I'm in class to learn. I'm not in class to teach you guys. Like, I'm not the teacher here. So the fact that she would literally call on me essentially to educate the other white students was kind of crazy to me. And I realized, like, again, as an adult, I was her fetish. She fetishized dark-skinned people, she fetishized African people, and I think she had this complex that a lot of white people have, where they want to be the white saviors for African people. They want to be the white saviors for black people. They don't want to feel guilty. They don't want to feel racist. And don't get me wrong, like, I have no problem with people that are white, that are any, you know, creed, religion, whatever the case may be, doing things to benefit African people or to benefit people within African countries, because at the end of the day, if that's where your heart calls you or what your heart wants you to do, then do that. But I'll never forget, I had a professor in college, and shout out to him, we led a program, and he's a white man, and he was so down for just like anything that we did. And I remember there was one semester where we didn't have a faculty advisor, who is the person that usually leads over the organization. And we didn't realize it then, because our consciousness wasn't at the level it should be. But I remember we asked him if he would be the faculty advisor. He was just like, as a white man, I could never be the faculty advisor for the Black Student Union. I appreciate you guys asking me, but I will not do it. And I remember after he said that, we thought about it, and we were just like, yo, that's a real ally. An ally is someone that not only fights for a cause, but recognizes the fact that the people who need to be on the forefront of that fight need to be black people. He's doing what we need him to do, but he's not like trying to be the face of it, if that makes sense. Even think about the commercials we see for feed, you know, people in Africa and all of these things, which is something that I was bullied for a lot as well. Just people saying, oh, like, yo, like, it's so crazy the amount of stories that I have. I'll tell you another example. I remember I was friends with this girl. I was at her house, and something came about, and I told her I was African. She was like, what? You're African? I thought that you were Jamaican, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm African. Sis was like, do y'all wipe your butt with leaves? That's what I heard. I heard that y'all do. She started doing chants, talking about some, you know, they love to do that after some movie, I forget the name of it right now, that came out. But I remember sitting there like, yo, sis, like, you can't be serious. But she was dead serious. Like, she was dead serious. She was not joking. She really thought that I wiped my butt with leaves. She really thought, and I mean, she thought that I did that here at home in America. Like, and she was just like, yeah, all Africans stink. Like, she was just saying some crazy things. And I remember I didn't defend myself. I just sat there, let her talk, went home, and complained about it to my mom. And my mom was just like, you know, my mom always had an interesting way of dealing with the situations. Her biggest thing was just like, well, you know where you come from. Like, when you die, you have to go somewhere. Like, I would always come home to her, they said this, they said that. She was like, anytime they say anything to you, tell them that you know where you come from. And now, with so many people being woke, it's a privilege to be black and to know where your roots trace back to. Because black people in general was stolen from land. You were stolen from your homes, and so many generations have passed that a lot of black people don't even know who their true ancestors are, where they truly come from. And I think as a child, I would look at her like, that's a whack comeback. Or like, you know, like, what do you mean I could tell her I know where I come from? Like, she doesn't care about that, you know? And now as an adult, I'm just realizing how much of a privilege it is to know, you know, where your roots trace back to. And it's also not something that I want to hold over black people either, the fact that you don't know where you come from, because at the end of the day, you don't know where you come from, and it's not by choice. It's by force. And the things that Black people have contributed to this country, the things that Black people have done, the way that Black people have survived slavery and like brought in families, and like just the resistance that people have in general that are Black and that are like African American, like their roots have been lost over time. Like there's so much power in just being a Black person because of what your ancestors and what your family members had to endure in order for you to be here now. So I have the utmost respect for all Black people in general. But you know, it's just so interesting to me when I think about it. And this all stemmed from me just thinking about literally just being dark skinned. And there's so many things that I've experienced as not only a dark skinned woman, but as a dark skinned African woman. Because another thing that's a trend now is being African. Like these fabrics and all of these things that y'all see, I literally, like I said earlier, I would be so upset when my parents would come in their traditional clothes to the point where I would ignore them. I was sitting at a graduation and my aunt came and she had on her full African attire and she came in late, so she made an entrance. And I remember I looked at her and I hid my face immediately. And an older Black woman that was sitting next to me tapped me and she was like, "Don't do that. That's not nice." And I remember I said, "Oh, like my mom is over there." Like I was rushing to get her away from me just because of her being adorned and her wearing the African garb. And it's just like, now, what? The people in China are selling it like as dashikis because it's so much in style and it's so much of a trend. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like I'm very proud of how much, you know, things have changed as far as just like the acceptance of being African or the acceptance of being dark skinned. But I just want people to understand that this acceptance, like there's years and years and years and years and years and years and years of oppression. There's years and years and years and years and years of kids being bullied for just existing. You all know of the things that they will call dark-skinned people: tar baby, blackie, I can't even think of all of the things, mammy. Like there's just so many like horrible connections that people made. And if it wasn't that, like if it wasn't those things, it was like the objectification and the sexualization of Black people and the connection to food. That was a lot. Or to just say, stop calling me dark chocolate, like if you're a man especially. And I'm gonna be very honest, I don't know how other people feel about this. For me personally, it's different for me when a woman says, "Oh my God, your skin is so chocolatey." Like it's still objectifying me and it's still sexualizing me, but I'll even call myself chocolate sometimes. So I personally don't mind it when it comes from women as much, but when it comes from men, it bothers me so much. Like, and I'm talking about as a child, men, "Oh, you some sexy dark chocolate, can I get a kiss?" No, you can't. Like, or they'll be like, "Oh, like," I don't know, they'll just say so many things connected to my skin complexion, and it was always to sexualize me. So if it wasn't to bully me, if it wasn't to bring me down or make me feel like I wasn't enough or I wasn't as much of a woman, it was 100% to sexualize me and to fetishize me as being someone of a deeper complexion. And we all know the famous, "Oh, you pretty for a dark skinned girl." How many of y'all still get that? Because I sure still do. How many of y'all get, "I usually don't go for dark skinned girls, but you know, you're pretty"? That's supposed to be a compliment? Like, I'm confused. Please, someone help me understand, be some own voice. And I think, you know, for that company that hit me up, I'm not gonna put your names on blast because at the end of the day, I have some class to me. I'm not, like, I'm gonna drag you, but I don't have to say your name because I'm pretty sure if y'all do any research on skin bleaching companies, you'll see that this is not the only one. This is not, it's not like a 1 in a million type of thing. Like there's so many skin bleaching companies, it's not even funny. And I keep thinking about like, why was I so triggered? And I think again, I was so triggered because I had just made like a connection a few days ago and I had a moment, you know, of feeling like I'm not enough as a woman because, you know, I'm darker skinned or no man would ever want me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had that moment, I thought that, and I checked myself real quick, reminded myself, you know, my complexion is what makes me and is not what breaks me. But I just want y'all to know that that mindset is something that has to be like physically taught because there's nothing in society that really says otherwise. But what I was getting to earlier that I kind of got sidetracked about was the fact that even when I was like an adult, like the pressure to bleach my skin, again, not really from, surprisingly enough, like my stepdad, like if I ever tried to even pick up a bleaching product, I feel like he would smack the shit out of me. He's also a very dark man, but there's other people, you know, not in my immediate family, not my mom or my dad, they really never like encouraged me to bleach my skin. What I will say, however, is when I would get a tan, it would be like, "Oh, like you got darker." or like, oh, that foundation makes you look a little dark. And I would always think to myself, why does it matter? Like, you know, like it's summertime, of course I'm darker, but there was never any pressure for me to go out of my way to bleach my skin from my immediate family, but 100% from like other people that were not my immediate family, peers. And when I say pressure, it doesn't even mean that it needed to be somebody coming out outright and telling me, oh, you need to bleach your skin. But even like my peers bleaching their skins themselves, it would make me think like, damn, is this what I need to do? And you know, the thing is that like for me personally, I would think that the kids of my generation, especially I'm talking specifically about Africans, because as I said, like this is not just a Nigeria thing. This is a black thing. I personally think. I think anywhere you go in America, anti-blackness exists, and because not America, anywhere you go in the world, anti-blackness exists, and because anti-blackness exists, there's gonna be people that are bleaching their skin. But I remember I thought that that was our parents' generation. I remember thinking like, you know, because we see so many of our parents, and I'll put up pictures too, where it's like they bleach their skin and they are red. Their skin is burning. Like they have like serious skin conditions as a result of the bleach that they use having a negative effect on them. So I thought, you know, the buck stops there. It's not gonna happen with us. Like, that's not a us thing. That's not an our generation thing. That's our parents. It was just, you know, that damn feeling of now it's pressure, not just from like society, but now I had direct pressure from people telling me, oh no, I'm not bleaching my skin. I'm just, you know, getting rid of hyperpigmentation. I'm just getting rid of dark spots. And I'm talking about, this wasn't one person. Like, this is no shade to anybody. This is literally me just hearing this from so many people. I even have friends that are not even dark skinned that were a little fairer, that let's say, you know, they have like little marks or something like that. They want to get rid of it. And I feel like that's normal. If you have dark spots on your skin, you want to figure out how to get that away, because hyperpigmentation is a real thing. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that hyperpigmentation does not exist, because we know that hyperpigmentation does exist. I have hyperpigmentation. A lot of black women have hyperpigmentation, but your whole face and your whole body can't be all hyperpigmentation. You're just trying to get lighter, sis. Like, let's keep it real. There's a difference between you needed to get rid of a mark, you wanted to get rid of a blemish, you wanted to get rid of a pimple that left the dark spot, versus you wanted to completely change your skin. And I'm talking about, you can see before and after pictures. I know so many people where it's like, when I go on their Facebook and I go back to their pictures from like 2005, you could say whatever you want. You could tell us, oh, I didn't bleach my skin, it's just, you know, whatever, I just got rid of my bumps, I just got rid of my scars. That's cool. But when we go back to your pictures from when we were younger, and you literally are darker than me, and now all of a sudden you're as light as freaking, I don't know, you're light as hell, you bleached your skin, and just accept it. Because at the end of the day, I'm not no one to judge. I'm not gonna say that you're wrong for bleaching your skin. You succumb to the pressures of society, and that's just the reality of what it is. Like, you wanted to lighten your skin, whether it was for yourself, for your own security, for a marriage, for, you know, just perception of what people will have of you, for your family, whatever it is, you succumb to some type of pressure on you to be lighter, because that is what is considered to be okay. And I'm not better than you because I didn't bleach my skin. I just thank God that I didn't get to that point, because I know for me personally, like, I would be lying if I say that I never thought about it. I 100% thought about it. And anytime I thought about it, there was somebody to check me to say, I will smack the shit out of you. And I'm just keeping it real. I had friends, I had some family members. Like I said, my dad, if he ever saw anything in my room that said brightening, he would come and check and throw that away. And I never used anything that was brightening, but he would literally check and just make sure, especially when he started noticing that other people would be using like creams and stuff like that that were from my generation, or, you know, the younger girls. But I felt triggered by that email, just because it's like, it takes work for me to be a dark-skinned woman and to, you know, be proud and stay within my complexion. It has taken work for me to get to this point where I see my beauty, to get to this point where I feel like I want to be represented, to get to this point where, you know, I feel amazing and I feel proud to be who I am, to get to this point where I am flaunting my blackness and I'm not hiding it. I'm not hiding my roots. I'm not hiding my heritage. I'm not hiding any of those things. And all of this took work. It wasn't built overnight. It didn't happen overnight. So it just frustrated me when I saw that I got an email, it's almost like if it was I don't want to be dramatic, but it's like when someone is struggling with something, and I'm not struggling with being dark skinned right now, but when someone has struggled with something, when someone sees something that can trigger them and make them feel less than about themselves, when someone doesn't feel represented in society, when someone doesn't feel like society considers them to be beautiful, and you send them something that's almost like the antidote, what if I would have said yes to that? how would that have affected me, my own like psyche, but then also like affected other little girls, other people who know me or who have been on my platform? Imagine if y'all was watching my video and I came up one day as light as Beyonce. Like, I know y'all would be like, what the hell is going on? And it would just literally be me having succumbed to the pressures of society. So it's just like, how many people are y'all sending these emails to? How many people are y'all trying to pay essentially to bleach their skin so that you can have a before and after? And how many people are accepting it? How many lives have you changed as a brand? Not for the positive. You're not encouraging people to love themselves. You're encouraging people to change themselves because of what your own perception as a brand is of beauty. And I have to rush because I have to go to an event. I'm clearly running late. But what I want to say is to any dark-skinned girl, to any African girl, you don't have to be in a two-piece to be considered beautiful. You don't have to have big breasts, a big butt, and a small waist with a flat stomach to be considered beautiful. You don't have to bleach your skin to be considered beautiful. You don't have to take a man calling you chocolate, or take any man because you feel like you can't get a man because you're dark skinned. You don't have to deal with any of that. All you have to do is love yourself. And when I say all you have to do is love yourself, I know how hard it can be for you because I know how hard it was for me. Take it one day at a time. Follow and support people that look like you. Don't idolize other women who look completely different from you. There are tons of beautiful women and they come in different complexions. Beautiful people, different complexions, different shades, different sizes. And there's nothing wrong with you appreciating their beauty. Just make sure you appreciate the beauty within yourself as well, okay? And that's something that I think goes for a lot of us, regardless of how we look, is social media has allowed us to see some beautiful people. Beautiful people. But don't ever feel like you're not beautiful because you don't look like them. Because just as they are beautiful, you are also beautiful, okay? I got to go. I don't know how this video is gonna come across. You might see me chop some things up. I might have to include some voiceovers to clarify. Because I really did, again, come from a place right now of just like, you know, feeling a little angry, feeling a little hurt. I'm in my feelings and I can admit that because this is something that I don't want to say I struggle with, but it's something I deal with a lot. Whether it's from tagging certain pages and never getting reposted because I'm not the dark skin that they're looking for. Whether it is from different people that are mutuals within the industry, essentially like making me feel like I'm only gaining followers, I'm only gaining success because of my dark skin, you know, and not because of my talent or not because of my work ethic or not because of, you know, the beauty that does exist regardless of the complexion, but simply because of me being dark and it's the trend and that's why I'm successful, you know. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to have overcome as an adult. It's a lot to see as a teacher. When I see students being bullied the same way I was bullied for their complexion. When I see certain teachers talk about certain students as if they are the devil, and realizing that their bias is there because the students of deeper complexion, and them not understanding nor wanting to understand how the things that they say can perpetuate violence against, you know, younger people. When we think about the types of black men that are arrested, a lot of the times it's dark-skinned black men. When we think about, you know, the women and the sentences they have, remember JT, look at how long she's in prison compared to, and I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to do it. I don't want to make this seem as though it's a us versus them thing, but when we see lighter-skinned women commit crimes that are just as heinous, just as bad, or within the same realm, they get lighter sentences. And it's just the reality, you know, of our society. So my skin is not a trend. No, I don't want your bleaching products. Don't ever hit me up for any bleaching products. And like I said, love yourselves no matter how you look, no matter what your size is, no matter what your complexion is. And if you are someone that has done anything that I have mentioned in this video that is problematic, don't feel guilty in the sense of like, oh my God, I didn't realize what I was doing. Just make changes. Change your behavior. Be aware of the issue. Be aware of the problem. And just check yourself. We all have those moments where we have to check ourselves when we're doing something and we don't realize how it comes across. Because I'm pretty sure my teacher didn't expect, or my teacher didn't think she was fetishizing me. She probably thought she was just showing me love. She probably thought that, you know, she was doing the right thing. She had good intentions. It's just the message and the way that it was delivered wasn't the best, you know. and I don't fault her for it. It's more so just like, when you know better, do better. So that message goes for anybody that's watching this that is lighter skinned, anybody that's watching this that is white, anybody that's watching this that is even brown, whatever your complexion is, whatever your race is. If you know that you are guilty of any of the things that I mentioned, from fetishizing to bullying people, don't feel sorry for me. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Make the necessary changes and keep it pushing. That's it. That's all you can do. Because anything else is an excuse. And we don't need excuses. We just need change, okay? And I think the biggest thing in general is just, as women, regardless of what your insecurity may be, make sure you find beauty and value in yourself. And I can't stress that enough. Because until you find it in yourself, you will not at all be okay. You will always feel the need to compare yourself. You will always feel the need to even bring other people down because you're lacking something, or you feel as though you're lacking something from within. I'm gonna go finish my face. And then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I am running super late, so I couldn't even fix myself and like fix my positioning for the chair because I need to go. But thank you for watching this video. I hope that something I said resided with you, and I hope that if you are someone that is like me, that you learn to love yourself and you take it day by day. Don't be too hard on yourself. And if you are someone that has kind of perpetuated this idea of dark skin or African people or anything that makes someone different being a trend, I hope that you are able to check yourself from this and understand that these are our lived experiences. There are things that we have to deal with as a result of who we are that other people don't have to deal with. So while it might be the end thing, this is something that we have been dealing with and something that we're going to continue to deal with if the trend dies out. And I say trend in quotations because, like I said before, my skin is not a trend. But I have to stop talking now. I have to go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I definitely want to see you guys here. Again, we are on the road to 2,000. So I'm hoping to hit 2,000 by the end of May. So that means it's grind time. Make sure you go ahead and, again, like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know if anything resonated with you. Let me know if there's anything that you feel I kind of misspoke on, or if there's something that you think you would like me to go into more detail about. Just let me know all of your thoughts. I love you all so much, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.